I'm stuffed. I don't know about you, but I just overdid it. Isn't that what Thanksgiving's all about? Just pig out. Whew. Oh, my goodness. Turkey on top of turkey, on top of sweet potatoes, on top of mashed potatoes, on top of squash. Oh my, you know what? You make exceptions to the rule, but I got to tell you, you get on the scale one day, you get on the scale the day after, boing, and you look down and you say, yeah, I had a good meal. Yeah, maybe a little bit too much, but that much weight? Good morning. It's Saturday, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, the Saturday after Black Friday. By the way, I had a quick chat on the way in with our man, the statue man, the monument man, Frederick Douglass. And I said, did you have a good Black Friday? Of course, he gave me the look. Black Friday? Never heard of it. There's a day for us? No. Anyway, today is Small Business Saturday. Welcome to it. It is chilly if you're going out to do some work or some shopping. Bundle up. It's in the 30s right now. It's not going to get too much warmer today. Yeah, it will get warmer, but not too much. As you know, this show, Brian's Beat, is the only program born at the apex of freedom, entrepreneurship, and nomadism. Welcome to the Saturday after. Whew, boy, 5 pounds, just like that. Anyway, ABC told you what they want you to know. Now it's my turn to dispense a little information. Bruins, their record is back at 500. They lost yesterday 2-1. 2-1. Speaking of the Bruins, do you realize tomorrow evening they are celebrating their 100th year as a professional hockey team? They're doing a big ceremony at the Garden. Big game at the Garden against two has-beens, but the Canadians are in town. And it's my understanding, despite the fact that it's the 100th anniversary, there's still some tickets available for that game. Bruins, Canadians, tomorrow evening at the Garden. Celtics, they won last night, 138-129. They're off until tomorrow, I believe. Speaking of tomorrow, the Patriots tried to right their ship. They go up against the Indianapolis Colts at Foxborough. It's also a game you can hear right here on WBSM, AM or FM, starting with the pregame at 10 a.m. So what else is going on? No turkey gobbles today. 25 shopping days before Christmas. 25. Free parking at Dartmouth Mall on Small Business Saturday. Get ready to spend a little bit more this holiday weekend. About 15% more than last year. Tit for tat. lower state taxes in exchange for a generational tobacco ban. Keep your ears open for new security measures. This after several Congresspeople, Democratic Congresspeople, and Trump appointees report receiving threats. The Supreme Court ruled states cannot deny students a free government education based on their immigration status. Mexico's El Presidente claims migrant caravans don't reach our borders. More after the Brian Speak quote of the day. Jim has some holiday stuff on his Town Square Sunday. He'll give it to us in just a bit. The Bitcoin Biz Barometer, next half hour. The Brian Speak quote of the day after we learn, yes, indeed, a little bit more, just a little bit more about today, which is the 30th of November, 2024. You know what today is? Cities for Life Day. Jeez, I would like to think we would have a World for Life Day. Cities for Life Day. International Computer Security Day. Once again, I would think that would be on the agenda every day, but, you know, who am I? What do I know? International Computer Security Day. You ready for the stupid one? And apparently, we only celebrate it here in this country. National Mason Jar Day. Mason Jar Day. Really? National Mason Jar Day. How do you celebrate National Mason Jar Day? Do you throw jars of whatever to the ground because they're a mason jar? I don't get it. I don't get it. Here's another one. National Meth. Think meth, amphetamines. National Meth Awareness Day. Boy, we're hurting. It's almost like some group has to make sure that their agenda is celebrated. National Meth Awareness Day. I don't know who goes around even thinking about something like that. Anyway, it is. National Moose Day, not the things that you see roaming around up in Maine. Moose, like in Mouse Moose, with the two S's. Again, I mean, I guess it's all right as a dessert. Maybe it's okay to put it in your hair. But do we have to? Well, somebody could say, well, do you have to mention it? No, I don't. But I think I'm mentioning it to you just to let you know how many silly things are out there besides me. National Personal Space Day. Yeah, I like my space. I think most of us like to have our space. I don't know that we have to have a National Personal Space Day. Can't we? It almost makes me think that outside of this particular Saturday, the last Saturday of the month of November, or November 30th, I can't have a personal space day because it's celebrated either on November 30th or the last Saturday in November. Perpetual Youth Day. Why don't we just call it Fountain of Youth Day? Perpetual. It's almost like you can't get out of it. Perpetual Youth Day. And as I mentioned earlier, today is Small Business Saturday. Whether you do your shopping online or you do it at the store, today would be a great day to do some of that shopping at a small, locally oriented business. Or a specialty, a boutique type business. Boutique. Small Business Saturday. Are you planning on doing some shopping at a small business today? What is a small business? I think of the mom and pops, but I think technically you are considered a small business if you have under 100 employees. Now, 100 employees, that doesn't seem like a small business to me. 50 employees doesn't seem like a small business to me. Whew. Anyway, Small Business Saturday. Stay home because you're well day. Why'd you just call it National Skip Day like we do near the end of a school year if you're like senior skip day? Stay home because you're well day? Doesn't even sound good. It is also, let us not forget that we had Thanksgiving, at least here in the United States, Thanksgiving on Thursday. Today is World Day of Giving. So basically, if you did a little extra Black Friday shopping, now you can take one of those gifts and give it up because today is World Day of Giving. With a flurry of punches, there's this guy, Floyd Patterson. He was an excellent boxer. In 1956, he became the youngest world heavyweight boxing champion. He just blistered up Archie Moore. Now, I didn't see the fight live. I was too young at that particular time. Just, a few days old, basically. But I have seen the videos, the old footage. And Patterson, as they say, Patterson killed him. Patterson also became the first Olympic gold medalist to capture the world professional heavyweight title. Floyd Patterson, boy, did he get himself into some trouble in the mid-1960s. He was set to fight Muhammad Ali. Patterson had this way about him. I guess he thought he was the champ, or he would get the title back from the reigning champ. And so he made a huge mistake in his life leading up to fighting Muhammad Ali. Floyd Patterson refused. He absolutely refused at that particular time to call Muhammad Ali Muhammad Ali. He kept on referring to him as Cassius Clay and making fun of the fact that he changed his name. And so when Muhammad Ali got into the ring to fight Floyd Patterson and he started walloping the heck out of him, he kept on throwing punches at his face and he would say, "What's my name? What's my name? What's my name?" At the end of the fight, what do you think Floyd Patterson called Muhammad Ali? I'll leave that to you. 1997. Bing Crosby has his last Christmas special on TV. 1977. I don't know if Pittman is listening, and don't send him a message if you have a way to access him, because I told him on this date, the album voted #1 rock record of the 20th century was released on this date in 1979. Don't tell him. In fact, I think I'll wait till he comes in. You might know who it is, who they are, whatever you want to call it. And no, it's not this next one. 1982, the best-selling album in the world, at least at that particular time, released by Michael Jackson, Thriller. Whew, wow, that was huge. 1995, Operation Desert Storm officially comes to an end in Iraq. 1995. 4 years later, Exxon, after losing so much money after the Exxon Valdez oil spill up in Alaska, Exxon and Mobil come to terms. They combine assets and about $74 billion to create the world's largest corporation, at least at that particular time. You know the name, Exxon Mobil. And if you drive around, how many Exxon gas stations do you still see? There are a few. But have you noticed? Mobil dominates. There's a reason for that. All of this leads to the Brian's Beat quote of the day. And it comes from Dick Clark, the late great Dick Clark. Music is the soundtrack of your life. Music is the soundtrack of your life. All right, let's open it up. 501-996-0500 to get on to Brian's Beat. They did a survey. And they did the survey before Trump won the election. And they found out that shoppers plan to spend about $650 each from Black Friday through Cyber Monday. Now think about that. This just holiday shopping. And that's not including any kind of grocery shopping for Thanksgiving. That's not including the airfare if you flew or gas if you drove a distance to go visit folks for Thanksgiving. This is simply gift shopping type stuff. $650. It's about 15% more than last year. I thought it was the economy, stupid. Maybe it's me. Now, let me raise my hand right now. I was in the kitchen and I was watching football yesterday. That is my Black Friday if I'm not out covering something. I don't want to be messing with all the people that were shopping. And to be honest with you, I don't know how many people were out shopping yesterday. My guess is even if it wasn't as many as it normally used to be on Black Friday, it's still a much larger crowd than I want to even deal with. That stated, can you imagine when you break it down, and I'm just going to leave it at adults. I'm not going to talk about what the kids are going to spend because by and large, kids don't have $650 to just chuck out for the holidays over a 3 or 4 day period. Think about this for a second. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. $650. Each person, each grown-up. Now check this out. 62% say in order for them to spend that kind of money, guess what they're going to have to do? They're going to have to pull out the old credit card or buy now, pay later. So in other words, they plan on spending about $650, but they don't have $650 to spend. Why do we stoop so low? What are we trying to prove? 600, all right, I know I'm cheap. if I'm spending $650 for the whole holiday season, like I said, I must be cheap. Any thoughts? Are you planning on spending anywhere near $650 between yesterday, Black Friday, and Cyber Monday? Phew, $650. And you wonder why people are broke. Is that pre-tariff or post-tariff? Man, oh man, Shevitz. 53% of those that are spending upwards of $650 say that they're going to have to use the credit card in order to finance their purchases. And then they get that big hangover in January and February trying to pay it all off. And then you know what they're doing? They can hardly wait for their tax returns to come. What a life. What an absolute mess. Oh, let's go over to Studio 6 and 7/8. Jim Phillips is going to apprise us of what's going to be coming up tomorrow on Town Square Sunday.
Good morning, Brian. Good morning, everyone. Here's what's happening this week on Town Square Sunday. We've got details on the latest production from the New Bedford Festival Theater. Home for the Holidays takes place for one day only, December 21st, at the Steeple Playhouse on William Street in New Bedford. Also, St. Anthony's Church in New Bedford staging a variety of events in December, including a majestic light show inside the church, December 7th, 5:30 p.m., produced by multimedia artist Nelson Raposa. And the annual Christmas concert is December 21st at St. Anthony's, 3 p.m., featuring musical selections on the church's 112-year-old historic pipe organ. I'm Jim Phillips. Join me for Town Square Sunday morning at 6 and 8, 1420 WBSM, 99.5 FM.
Thank you very much, Jim. And then we've got Patriots football with the pregame starting at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Earlier, I mentioned basically what I called a tit for tat. Would you be in favor of Beacon Hill lawmakers passing a bill that would eventually, I know eventually sounds like, well, what does that really mean? But eventually lower and then eliminate the cigarette tax in exchange for what is known as a generational tobacco ban. Now, what do we mean by generational? The town of Brookline, they were the first in the nation to pass what is known as a generational tobacco ban. And they did this more than 20 years ago, it seems. No, that's not true. They did it a few years ago. I think it was in 2020. They passed a ban that took effect on January 1, 2021. And what it does is anybody that was born before January 1st, 2000, you could buy cigarettes. If you were born after that date, you could no longer buy tobacco products in the city. I'm not sure if it's a city or a town of Brookline. Never again. Doesn't matter what your ID says. So you're sitting there and saying, what about those fools in Brookline? You know, that they're going to lose a lot of business to some of the other towns. Well, I agree with you, except Malden, which kind of borders Melrose, which kind of borders Reading, which kind of borders Stoneham, which kind of borders Wakefield, which kind of borders Winchester. Guess what they've done? They've approved similar tobacco bans. And so now, one of the chief backers of this idea, he's a Democratic state senator. His name is Jason Lewis. He wants this kind of ban to go statewide. He's not the only one. But it's unbelievable. So you're wondering, could they really get away with something like this? Can you fight it in court? I don't know. We are such a litigious society. I guess we could certainly fight it. Doesn't mean you win. I don't know. I used to smoke a long time ago. It was one of those things I could pick it up and put it down. And I don't want to hang around folks that smoke. But I still feel as I felt around the turn of this century that I can choose restaurants and bars to go to if the shopkeep is allowed to make a decision if they're going to be a smoking environment or if they want to petition off the place for folks to smoke or not to smoke. I can make up my own mind if I want to go into a particular restaurant. Maybe they have smoking, but they've got the best steak in town or the best squid around. Well, maybe I decide if that's the case, I'll put up with a little of the smoke, even if it kind of seeps over the wall or around the corner. I might put up with it because I'm getting the steak or the squid that I want. But I can make the choice myself. I don't need Big Brother, Bacon Hill lawmakers telling me that, kids that are adults, kids that you can put behind bars for writing bad words, that they can't smoke. They can't go into a store and smoke. You can throw them behind bars if they say the wrong words or they write the wrong letter. You can snoop on them. You can let them carry a gun, but you can't let them smoke. Or at least buy the products in a particular city or town, or as it would be statewide. You've got to be kidding me. So I'm trying to figure out here how the tax part of this works, because I really haven't figured that out. See, Massachusetts, and I'm getting this story from where? I think one of the TV stations. Somebody had asked when I talked about this on Wednesday's show. I was in for Barry on Wednesday. Love to know where this story came from. Well, I believe it actually comes from Google. Comes from Google. But as I looked online, there were quite a few other sources. I believe NBC 10 was one of them. NBC 10 out of Boston. Massachusetts has taken other steps in recent decades to curb smoking, including raising taxes on cigarettes. Those taxes would presumably be reduced and ultimately eliminated by an incremental statewide smoking ban. See, I guess I'm conflicted here. So you have fewer people smoking. This ban is supposed to go for cessation programs and other things. Well, if you don't have people smoking, you don't get that tax revenue in. Now, here's the thing. There's no law, at least to the best of my knowledge, there's no law that would forbid me, let's say I still smoked, and I wanted to keep up that filthy habit. What's to stop me from driving 8 miles to Tiverton? I live 8 miles from Tiverton, and I probably live a few miles less to Little Compton. What's to stop me from going there, buying my cigarettes in Rhode Island, and bringing them back? And heaven forbid, if a smoker friend of mine said, hey, if you're making that trip, could you pick me up a carton? I'll pay you when you get back. All of a sudden, I'm a dealer because I'm kind of helping a friend because I'm making that particular trip. How is this going to work? And it's amazing. We have Bacon Hill lawmakers who can work on a bill that, to the best of my knowledge, the majority of us could give a rat's you-know-what about. And they can't work on what should be a sanctuary place. Should there be a sanctuary place for folks that are here illegally, undocumented? They can work on stuff that people don't care about, but they have a problem working on stuff that people care about. And people do care about folks that are here undocumented and our tax dollars being funded that way. There are people that care on both sides of the issue. And maybe that's why Bacon Hill lawmakers don't want to work on such a thorny issue. And they can figure, well, look, people will love us if we try to get people to stop smoking, especially when they turn 21. Can you imagine that? You're 21 years old and your state representative, your state senator is going to vote to allow you or to disallow your right to smoke. You're right by age. I think I could go on and on about this, but let's see. Didn't we just raise? Yeah, it was about 6 years ago. We raised the age for cigarettes and cigars from 18 to 21. I guess that wasn't good enough. I'll tell you, this has all the trimmings of watch out because you don't know what's coming next. In fact, I did a little piece in my headlines, keep your ears open for new security measures. Now, what am I talking about here? Over the past few days, there have been threats made on Democratic Congress people. Most of them seem to come from Connecticut. There have also been threats made against some of the cabinet choices of Donald Trump, appointees, let's call them. They're not all cabinet choices. And apparently a MAGA sticker has been presented with whatever threat has been made. I'm not trying to delegitimize a threat here. I'm just stating what I heard. And this is from several news sources. It said MAGA. I don't know if MAGA people are out doing something like this or not, or somebody's trying to pretend that they're representing MAGA to give MAGA a bad name. But as tragic as 9/11 was, look at the things that happened not only in this country, but outside of this country, all in the name of terrorism, fighting terrorists. And we still have that big sweeping security measure that never seems to sunset. And some people say, well, You never know, so we should keep it there. Well, that makes us more of a police state. So that is why I'm saying keep your ears open. And, of course, if you're watching the boob tube, YouTube, whatever, keep your eyes open, too. Because my guess is we're going to hear about security measures being introduced in order to beef up safety of congresspeople and cabinet appointees. I just get that feeling. But rather than try to express it, I think I just want you to be aware. Keep your antennas up, your eyes open, take the cork out of your ear to listen, because, let's see what happens with this. Hopefully nothing bad happens, but let's see where this goes. Just curious. 508-996-0500. It is that time on a Saturday morning when we present the Bitcoin Business Barometer, where we measure the universal crypto marketplace. Bitcoin is down more than $1,800 from last week at this time. I've got the figure, but it's incorrectly printed on my paper. It's down 96,000 and change from 98,652 last week. Ethereum is up 336 points at 3,714. Solana is down, coming in at $258, down 15. XRP is up 39 cents, coming in at $1.93. Binance Coin 673, that's up $10. Dogecoin 42 cents, actually down 4 cents. Oh, I'll come back to that one in just a sec. Cardano was up a nickel at 114. I think I mentioned either last week or the week before, dealing with Dogecoin, about my friend who is big in the Dogecoin. If he ever got up to 75 cents, he would be striking it rich. He wouldn't have to work for the rest of his life. I ran into him the other day, and I had mentioned him, well, how's your Dogecoin doing? And he goes, oh, I sold that a while ago. And I said, you got to be kidding me. You know what it is this morning? And I told him, it's up in the 40s. And he goes, well, I got rid of it, but I made a killing on Apple anyway. So he was happy with that. Anyway, that's the way it goes with the Dogecoins and the Cardanos and the Binance coins of the world. But the Bitcoin, even though it's down 1813 from last week at this time, it's still up to 96,000 for one whole Bitcoin. And that's your Bitcoin Biz Barometer for today, November 30th, 2024. As always, I get my numbers from CoinMarketCap.com because CoinMarketCap has the numbers updated every second of the day. Emeril Lagasse has one of his paid programs on people sitting there clapping and eating. And I'm thinking, this Thanksgiving weekend and folks are still stuffing themselves. Then I'm thinking, I still got a whole bunch of turkey left and some sweet potatoes. And, I finished another pie. Woman friend said, look, leave me a sliver of the apple. I said, no, I bought that one for you. Please. 508-996-0500 to get onto the program today. A little bit chilly. It looks like the frost is starting to melt off of most of the windshields, at least out here in Fairhaven. 32 degrees in Fairhaven, 31 in Freetown, 32 in New Bedford. And thank you again to SouthCoast Towing for allowing the folks to download the WBSM app. So if you're driving from point A to point B, maybe you went to New Jersey or Pennsylvania for the holidays and you wanted to keep up with what's going on here in the backyard. Thank you. Thank you very much for doing so. Couple of things that I brought up, and then when we get into hour number 2, I want to expand not only on those stories, but to go back to something that we discussed on Wednesday. President Trump-elect has this idea of slapping tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China. We already have tariffs on China, but an additional 25%, I shouldn't say additional, 25% on Canada, 25% on Mexico, an additional 10% on China. Well, over the past couple of days, the president-elect has met with the president of Mexico, and last evening he dined with, I should say, Justin Trudeau, the president, prime minister, whatever the proper title is, for his country. He was actually at Mar-a-Lago, and I guess they had pheasant under glass. Who knows what they ate over there? But the question of tariffs came up, and as they all do, we vow to work with you. But Trudeau made the statement, which is right on point. You slap us with the 25% tariff, and yes, it's going to affect some Canadians, but it's really going to affect U.S. consumers, those folks that are going to go out and buy. Because, and I asked a few people about this, and maybe it's just the people that I asked. I didn't set it up any more than asking a question. But most people, at least the ones that I talk to, and I believe this goes throughout the country, certainly throughout the Commonwealth, certainly throughout this area down here, the Buzzards Bay corridor, as I like to call it. They're not taking the time to see where a product comes from. They might see the label after the fact, but they're not thinking about that when they shop. They're thinking Ajax, I'm getting Ajax. They're thinking Levi Strauss, they're getting Levi Strauss. They don't know if Levi Strauss is still made in San Francisco or if they're made out in the Bahamas or wherever. You can say that we're lazy, but people just aren't paying that type of attention anymore.
Ignorant and stupid.
What's that? So, if that's the case, how are the tariffs going to work for our favor here? I've asked this before. I've had a couple of people say, yeah, they don't mind, and they believe that others won't mind. And I believe there are a few people that will become conscious about it, but you need more than 50% to make something like this work and stick. And I don't think you would get 33% of the nation willing to watch what they buy to the point that they're only going to buy American goods. They may look enough to make sure that the good isn't made from Mexico, made from China, made from Canada. But if it comes from England, well, they're our partner too. If it comes from Italy, well, especially if they're Italian, they might want to buy from Italy. By the way, avocados. The chief market for Mexican avocados is the United States of America. So now 25%, I might end up paying an additional 50 cents to $1 for a bag of avocados. I'm still going to get the avocados.